Good afternoon. Sharp 12 o'clock, so let's start. See, in this COVID pandemic situation, I have a lot of patients, who come and ask me, Doctor, can you suggest some medicines or some herbs for improving the immunity? Actually, immunity is not something which you can buy from a clinic, or immunity is not something which you can buy from a herbal store by paying 100 rupees or 100 dirhams. Immunity has to be developed through a proper lifestyle, through proper diet, through proper rasayana prayogas. The immunity has to be built. So today I thought of, talking about this topic, a personalized daily regimen for improving the health and immunity. Hope you are all familiar with a flower named 4 o'clock flower. The speciality of this 4 o'clock flower is it blossoms exactly at 4 p.m. Not only the 4 o'clock flower, you take the 10 o'clock flower, they blossom exactly at 10 a.m. in the morning. And there are several other plants which open the leaves by the sunrise and closes by sunset. These plants, or the 4 o'clock flower, they do not have watches that we wear. If these plants do not follow their internal, natural, biological clock, they will die. Human, if we do not follow the internal clock, if we do not follow the biological clock, we may not die immediately, but we will suffer. Life is very tough when everything is going out of sync. In human being, now we know that there is a center at the hypothalamus of the brain, which is named as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, shortly called as SCN. With around 20,000 neurons, they control our biological clock. This clock, it is set during the first few months of life. It is seen not only in human, it is seen in animals, plants, bacteria, algae, etc. It controls many functions like blood pressure, body temperature, hormone releases, etc. Disruption of this biological clock, it can lead to many diseases including irritable bowel syndrome, gastroesophageal reflux, ulcers, obesity, etc. And more importantly, the disruption of this biological clock or the disruption of this circadian rhythm accelerates aging and it promotes the tumorigenesis. Now, who doesn't want to follow such a biological clock? When you look at the biological clock, there are several functions set in various time periods of this clock. For example, there is a hormone named melatonin, the production which starts exactly by the sunset, and the production of melatonin abruptly stops by the sunrise and the testosterone production starts. Say you take by around 10 p.m., the bowel movements are arrested and which reopens by the morning by the sunlight or when we wake up. So that's why Ayurveda says morning evacuation of the bowels, it is a sign of health. That means your biological clock is working correctly. It's not only about the bowels and the melatonin. See, there are certain times the body temperature goes to the minimum. Say you take around 2 a.m. in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning, the body temperature is the lowest. If you check your blood pressure towards the evening time, say around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., the blood pressure is the highest during that time. So what you need to understand that See, beyond our control, in sync with the nature's clock, there are several functions and physiologies set as per this biological clock. And you know that Ayurveda suggests waking up at Brahma Muhurta. It says, Brahme Muhurte Uttishtet. Now, what is this Brahma Muhurta? Brahma Muhurta is defined as the time period of 90 minutes before sunrise to 45 minutes before sunrise. For example, if the sunrise is at 6 a.m., Brahma Muhurta is the 45 minutes time period from 4:30 a.m. to 5:15 a.m. Now we can have two questions. Why should one wake up at the Brahma Muhurta? Or why should one wake up before the sunrise? Ayurveda gives a clear reply, Rakshartham Ayushaha Swasthaha. That means one should wake up before sunrise to preserve a healthy life. I can find several specialities of the time period Brahma Muhurta. It is the Vada time. Vada time is the time of creativity. It is the time of enthusiasm. It is the time of joy. Not only that, there is powerful electromagnetic radiations which is observed during the early morning time, and the body temperature reaches the minimum during this period. Low melatonin levels are observed during the early morning, which will soon finish by the fall of sunlight and the testosterone production starts. And maximum plasma cortisol levels are seen during this time. The cortisol, it's a hormone which is produced by the adrenal cortex. Under the influence of the hypothalamic pituitary axis, it is not just a stress hormone. It controls several functions like blood pressure, blood sugar levels. It regulates the metabolic rate in the body. It helps to reduce the inflammation in the body, and it also assists with the memory formation. That is why the elders, used to ask us to wake up in the morning and study, because the hormone cortisol help us with the memory formulation. And how these specialities of Brahma Muhurta help us in improving the health and longevity, it's a topic of research. Now, there can be another question. Who should wake up before sunrise? Ayurveda says only swastha, only healthy need to be specific about waking up at the Brahma Muhurta. See, this is getting interesting now. Waking up at the Brahma Muhurta shall improve health, and healthy only need to wake up at the Brahma Muhurta. So, waking up before sunrise shall improve the health, and only healthy need to wake up in the early morning time. Now, since Dr. Shyam said, let's set the alarm for tomorrow at 5 a.m. Don't do that. You should be prepared before taking such a lifestyle change in your life if you are not used with that habit. One should take an early dinner and should grab sound sleep before you take a decision to wake up in the morning. Ayurveda says a Vata body type of a person may require around 6 to 7 hours of sleep. A Pitta body type should sleep for 7 to 8 hours. A Kapha body type should sleep for 8 to 9 hours. Body type, types of body. We all used to think that I'm a machine named Homo sapiens. So according to Ayurveda, it's not every individual is a unique manifestation. For example, we studied in our school that what is the normal pulse rate? We studied in the school that it is 72 per minute. The same thing, when I reached my plus 2, I studied anything between 70 and 80 can be normal. When I reached my medical school, I studied anything below 60 is bradycardia and anything above 100 is tachycardia. See the range? It can be, normal pulse rate can be anything between 60 to 100. And now if you observe your pulse, you can feel that some of them it is moving very fast. Some of them it is rhythmic like the swimming of a swan. For some, it might be moving like a snake. For some, it is jumping like a frog. And you may be able to feel the temperature of the pulse also. For some, it may be a warm pulse. For some, it may be a cold pulse. Why does the pulse of human vary from person to person if we were all the standard Homo sapiens? It is not just the pulse rate. The skin color, hair type, climatic preferences, food habits, dislikes, behavior, emotional expressions, all these of human being varies from one person to another. Every human being, it is a unique individual with full of idiosyncrasies and peculiarities. You are unlike any other human being in the past, in the present, or in the future. Each human being, it is a unique manifestation of the creative energy of the nature. Ayurveda used the term swastha to denote healthy. Swe tishtadi, swasmin tishtadi, it is swastha. Swa means self. Stha means established. So, the word meaning of the term swastha is established in the self. Swastha means established in the self. The mentioned term self, it is the ego, not the Freudian ego, but the power of individual identity which makes you yourself, which makes you different from him or her, from they or them, is the ego, or Ayurveda call it like ahamkara. But several times today's physician, they tend to ignore this individuality. They often look at people as a collection of livers or lungs and neglect the organism that hosts the liver or the lungs. To explain the human body, I can explain it in a very simple term. Our body has, it's a space which is lined by two skin, which is the external skin and the internal skin. The external skin and the internal skin which lines our internal organs. Anything internal to my internal skin is my environment. Anything external to my external skin is also my environment. So you are a part of my environment, and the water I drink is also a part of my environment. There are a lot of external factors which try to invade into this body which is lined by this two skin in the form of bacteria, in the form of virus, in the form of fungus, unhealthy food, toxic substances, carcinogens, polluted air, etc. And our human body has an excellent protective mechanism also. The human aura is the first line of defense. And our skin itself, it prevents. Then we have the immune system. The immune system, it is always considered as a sense organ with sixth sense for the intruders. And it is an intricate web of white blood cells, antibodies, T cells, B cells, a system of fascinatingly complex system controlled by a single boss named our ahamkara, or the ego, or the I former. The ahamkara identifies itself with trillions of cells in the body. Your ahamkara constantly reminds everyone of your cells, of its identity, and saying that it's a subunit of you. And sometimes, some cells try to get rebellious in nature. And our immunity immediately, hunt those aliens down. And those will be mercilessly executed. And all those carcinogenic cells, will be mercilessly, ruthlessly executed. And imagine in a situation, this ahamkara is destroyed. You can remain active and alive and safe inside your body as long as your ahamkara serves your fort as a fort governor. Diseases arise when this ahamkara is afflicted and the immunity weakens. Therefore, understanding of your ahamkara, understanding of yourself, and understanding of your ego holds the key to the health. The Ayurvedic principle of health and diseases, it revolves around the concept of three doshas, namely Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These three active energy forces, they govern the entire functions of the human body. Like Vata governs the principle of movement, Pitta governs metabolism, Kapha governs lubrication, growth, etc. When all these three energy factors, that is the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they are balanced, it provides health and immunity for the individual. Though we all have Vata, Pitta, Kapha, our ancient sages, they have observed that every individual is different and unique, and they possess this Vata, Pitta, Kapha in differing proportions. This accounts for our difference in appearance, behavioral pattern, emotional tendencies, likes, dislikes, etc. On account of these differences, Ayurveda categorized the human into 7 body types. They are Vata type, Pitta type, Kapha type, Vata Pitta type, Vata Kapha type, Pitta Kapha type, and Vata Pitta Kapha type. The basic knowledge of one's body type helps one to determine the most auspicious lifestyle that will ensure wellness, longevity, appropriate foods, herbs, exercise regimens, medicines, therapies, and even suitable profession. Knowing one's constitution holds the key to health, liberation, and ultimately the self-realization. I mentioned to you about the Vata body type. I explained about Vata body type in my previous lives also. But to repeat, Vata body type, they are generally lean and thin and non-muscular in nature. The face is usually a bit long or angular in nature. The neck is thin. Hair is dry, coarse, and curly in nature. Eyes tend to be very small in nature, narrow or sunken in nature, small mouth, and with narrow lips and irregular teeth. Vata body type are generally active, restless in nature, with quick gait, and usually they walk very fast, with short steps. And they have lack of stamina for prolonged work, and they usually have very light and interrupted sleep, and they require a sleep for only 5 to 7 hours. With 5 to 7 hours of sleep, they will be still, they will be very active and energetic in nature. They will have rapid speech and frequent changes of mind and weak memory. It's a speciality of the Vata body type of person. The Vata body type of a person, generally they are very artistic in nature. Now, Vata body type generally are very fearful in nature, and they tend to be anxious in nature. On the other side, if you look at the Pitta body type, they are having moderate physique, having muscular limbs. Skin is usually soft, lustrous, and they perspire more, they sweat a lot. And they have fine, soft, and brownish hair mostly, and to tend to get premature graying. And they are overly competitive in nature, aggressive people, competition, anger, ego, pride, they are all on the higher side. They are intellectual people, and they are precise due to the alert and the focused type of mind. They have sharp anger, as I mentioned you. They are argumentative in nature, but with a sense of humor. And they have selectively excellent memory, and which makes them very good learners. On the other side, Kapha body type of person, they tend to put on weight very fast. They have large round face, and they have very attractive eyes with full and big lips. They are generally very pleasant in nature. They have thick, wavy, lustrous, black and curly hair. Usually they are very calm in nature, and they can be very lazy at times, and those may require a push from behind to get things done. And learning may be slightly slow, but memory will be very strong in nature. They are very logical in nature, and they take time before reaching into conclusions. They usually require long hours of deep sleep. Now, I was talking about the importance of waking up in the early morning. So here, what I wanted to mention is a Vata body type of a person might require only 6 to 7 hours of sleep or 5 to 6 hours of sleep. When it is a Kapha person, they might require up to 8 hours of sleep usually. Now, what do we do, once we wake up? And I know that, we hear the alarm, then we rush to get ready for the office and all. But it says one should take time to roll out of the bed. We were taught in our childhood that then once you wake up, pray for a little while, seeking the forgiveness from the Mother Earth before stepping our feet on her. See, there is a science also behind it. The studies have shown that the early morning heart attack is more common and tend to be more severe than those that happen later in the daytime. Our heart needs 50% more blood to go from being asleep to being awake. Imagine that, we were sleeping horizontally for the last 8 hours, and then we stand up, the heart needs to pump more. Not only that, the blood vessels are thicker and more rigid in the morning. The platelets are also stickier in the morning. So it is always, better to take time to roll out of the bed. I wanted to talk a little bit about drinking water in the morning. I have seen people who religiously swallow all the bacterial buildup in the mouth before brushing the teeth in the name of morning rehydration. I have seen people who take strong coffee on the empty stomach. I meet people who take acidic lemon of pH 3 or apple cider vinegar of pH 2 to 3, saying that it is alkaline and it helps to lose weight. pH 2 to 3 is never alkaline, it is acidic in nature. And all the above, it is wrong and unscientific in my opinion. And one can simply take simple warm water, or warm water after putting some basil leaves, or after putting some triphala into that, or simply take warm water in the early morning. Going forward, once you wake up, ensure that you open the curtains so that, the daylight falls into your eyes, and the fall of morning sunlight, it stops the production of melatonin, and the testosterone production starts, which makes you active and energetic throughout the day. Now, coming to the morning elimination, regular bowel habits, it's a symptom of good health, as I mentioned you previously. Generally, Vata body type of a person, they tend to have constipated bowels. A Pitta body type, they are more of diarrhea proneness is there. A Pitta body type of a person, if they eat food from outside, or their stomach is very sensitive in nature, they tend to get diarrhea quickly. Kapha body type of a person, they generally have smooth and solid bowels. So keep it in mind, from body type to body type, there can be some changes in the bowel habits. So if you are facing constipation, you can do some simple tips back at home. Drink warm water in the morning, or take Triphala Churnam. Triphala contain Haritaki, Amla and Vibhidaki. You can take it like 5 to 10 grams, mix with water, or mix with milk, or mix with ghee at bedtime. And one should also increase the intake of fruits like the grapes, banana, if you are suffering from constipation. Also include milk and buttermilk in your diet. Now, as I mentioned, in the morning, don't take bed coffee in the morning, because the microbes, that build up in the mouth, it may goes inside along with the bad effects of the coffee. So cleaning or brushing the teeth is a very important daily regimen. And several studies, it says that the fluoride toothpaste may weaken the bones and ligaments. It may weaken the muscles, and it may result in certain nervous problems. So one may use the simple things like charcoal of rice husk made at home, or you can add a little bit of cinnamon powder, of clove powder, to modify the taste if you like. See, I remember when I was in the colleges, this a multinational came to India laughing at Indians who use the charcoal for brushing their teeth, and they came with a white tooth powder. And now the irony is that the same multinational has brought carbonated bristles and carbonated toothpaste nowadays. The scraping of the tongue is also an important part of the oral hygiene. And after brushing your teeth and scraping your tongue, gargle with warm water, or you may add a teaspoon of sesame oil into half glass of warm water and gargle with that warm water. And gargling with sesame seeds, it can strengthen the teeth, it can strengthen the gum, it can strengthen the jaws. It prevents the tooth decay, and it prevents the bleeding of the gums, and it prevents dryness in the throat, and even it helps in cracked lips. So, and reduced plaque formation and reduced gingivitis are seen in people who regularly gargle with sesame oil. Now, I cannot miss talking about Abhyanga, or the oil massage, while talking about the daily regimens. At least, try to apply oil on the scalp, on the ears, and on the feet at least twice weekly pattern. See, we had a routine of oil bath in Kerala, especially on the Tuesdays and the Fridays. And oil application at least twice a week is very good for improving our health. And Ayurveda says Abhyangamacharet nityam sa jara srama vadaha drishti prasadam pushti ayuhu swapna sutvak dartyakrat. So it says the Abhyanga will reduce the aging process, it reduces fatigue, it prevents the Vada diseases, it ensures healthy eyes and healthy vision, it ensures nourishment, long lifespan, good sleep, good skin, it strengthens the body. What are the treatments can provide, so many benefits other than an Ayurvedic Abhyanga? Choosing the right oil is very important. So to make you familiar about, the different oils which are available in the kitchen, the mustard oil, they are generally warm in potency or hot in potency. Coconut oil is generally considered as cold in potency. Sesame oil or nallenna, ellenna or gingerly oil, that is warm in potency. Olive oil is also slightly warm in potency. Almond oil is cold in potency. So while using the oils, at least, keep it in mind the potency of these oils. A Vada body type of a person can sometimes use oils like Karpasastyadi Dailam or Mahamasha Dailam or Balashwagandhadi Dailam for their body. While when it is a Pitta person, they may use more of Narayana Dailam or Shirabala kind of oils. When it is a Kapha type of a person, they might use more of hot potency oils like Kotanchukadi Dailam or Chinjadi Dailam or simply plain sesame oil. The same oil which is used for Abhyangam can be used for the nasal drops also, like sesame oil can be put into the nostrils. People facing simple health problems, they can make fine changes in the Abhyanga oils. For example, if you have hair oils, any Keralite will know to use Nilibhringadi Dailam or Kanyunyadi Keram or Kundalagandhi Keram or Tripaladi Keram for the scalp. So always keep it in mind that Kanyunyadi may be slightly warmer in potency and compared to Nilibhringadi, which is cold in potency. When you have conditions like dandruff, one may use oils like Durthurapatradi Keram or Malatyadi Keram or Chambaratyadi Keram, where hibiscus is one of the main ingredient. If you are suffering from rhinitis, cold, runny nostrils, don't go for oils like Nilibhringadi and all. Instead, you may use oils like Surasadi Keram or Marijadi Keram or Tulasyadi Keram or Asanayeladi Keram, etc. When you have sleep problems, and we always say use Valiya Chandanadi Dailam or Chandanadi Dailam can be used, or even Shirabala can be used for simple sleep issues. And for headache, one can go for Belahadadi Dailam or Belagululchadi Dailam. You may consult a nearby doctor to suggest the most suitable oils for your Abhyanga. And as I mentioned before, the same oils may be used for application into the nostrils and into the ears, or one can use simple sesame oil or ghee. Sesame oil may be used for Vata Kapha body type, ghee may be used for Pitta body type of a person. And generally, one can use Anudailam for daily nasya. And Anudailam, it is neither warm in potency nor cold in potency, so it can be used on a daily basis. While talking about daily regimens, I cannot again miss talking about exercise. And Ayurveda says one should exercise daily up to the half of one's capacity, up to the half of one's stamina in the winter and in the spring seasons. And light exercise only should be done in the other seasons. And Ayurveda says in summer season, Ado asmin padu kadu amla vyayama arkagaram tejet. That means vyayama means exercise is contraindicated in the summer season time. And how will we know, we have done up to the half of our stamina? So when the sweat forms on the forehead or when the sweat forms on the armpit, or when you feel dry and thirsty in the mouth, and that is an indication that you have done the exercise up to half of your stamina. And exercise like sun salutation or going for a gentle walk, or exercises like gardening, etc., they are good forms of exercise. A Vata body type might require only very mild exercise because they tend to get exhausted very fast. A Pitta body type might require moderate exercise. A Kapha body type may go for intense workouts, as their metabolic rate is generally slow or low. And I would like to emphasize here that late evening exercise has a lot of adverse effects on our health. Exercise in the late evening may adversely affect our melatonin secretions. And evening exercise may result in a shift in the nocturnal melatonin production by up to 12 hours or 24 hours. So those who have sleep issues, please don't exercise in the late evening time. And after exercise, of course, the bath comes. Ayurveda says one should use lukewarm water for the body, and one may use room temperature water for the head. A Vata body type can afford real warm water. A Kapha body type, a lukewarm water is sufficient. When it is a Pitta body type of a person, they will be more comfortable with room temperature water. And bathing, it is very important because it induces the urination and it induces perspiration, which are cleaning mechanism to eliminate the byproducts and the toxic accumulations. And bathing, it will also remove the sodium chloride, urea, sodium phosphate, which are accumulated in the body as a result of perspiration. So morning bath is very important. You might have heard about a lot of Ayurvedic soaps which are available in the market. See, keep it in mind that the normal pH of the skin and the normal pH of the hair, when it is wet, it is 5.5 pH. Most of the soaps and shampoos which are available in the market, the pH ranges from 8 to 10, that is, they are highly alkaline in nature. But for us, we won't feel comfortable, we won't feel cleaned well unless we see the lather by the soap. But the acidic soaps and acidic shampoos, they might not produce that much of lather. So if you are very conscious, maybe one might go for a pH balanced soap. If you have time, to go for real Ayurvedic soaps, simple horse gram, or we call it like Mudira, right? Or Kulathi. You can use the powder of horse gram for a Vata body type of a person. For Pitta body type, one may use the Moong Dal powder. And for Kapha body type, again, Kulathi or horse gram is a good example, or herbs like Shirisha, or in Kerala we call it like Vagapodi, can be used for body wash. And eye care, it is very important as per Ayurveda. Ayurveda says to apply Sauvira Anjanam. Sauvira Anjanam is it's a black pebble which we can buy it from any herbal store. And the traditional way of using this Anjanam was we used to grind it in Kayoni, the juice. It's the juice of a plant named Eclipta alba, and one can apply it as a natural collyrium. And intake of Triphala is excellent for improving the vision or the health of the eyes. And Ayurveda suggests the use of Rasanjana once a week to improve the health. So on a daily use procedure purpose, Ayurveda suggests Sauvira Anjana, and once a week or once in 8 days, one might use Rasanjana. A product which is available in the market, say like Ilanir Kuramba, can be used instead. Abhyanga or oil application on the feet and scalp improves our health of the vision and the eyes. Intake of ghee and healthy eating, it's very important to preserve our healthy eyes. A Vata body type tend to have proneness of dry eyes. A Pitta body type might have reddish and sensitive eyes. A Kapha body type might get cataract at an early age. So keep this in mind and take precautionary measures. Those who are suffering from dry eyes, you can use a simple remedy, that application of ghee over the eyelids at bedtime might be a helpful solution. And about food, breakfast, try to take vegetarian food for the breakfast, because the enzyme production are just restarting in the morning and after the break at the night's time. Try to reduce egg, meat, heavy foods for the breakfast. And while eating, be it a breakfast or lunch or dinner, it is suggested to pray a little while or to express our gratitude before eating. The nourishment which we get with positive mind and sattvic thinking is the most nourishing part. Even if you don't believe in prayers, just sit for a couple of minutes in front of the yummy food. Feel the smell, feel the sight of the food, which will stimulate the production of the saliva and the gastric enzymes, which is important for digestion. One should take breakfast by the end of Kapha time, that is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. It is the Kapha period. One might go for breakfast after 9 a.m. or by 10 a.m. in the morning. And generally, according to each body type, you will have different preferences for the food. A Vata body type might prefer mostly sweet, sour and salty foods. A Pitta body type prefers sweet, bitter and astringent taste. And a Kapha body type usually prefers spicy, bitter and astringent foods. And Ayurveda says, Annam Brahmedi Vijanat. That means, the modern medicine used to think that, the intake of nutritious food is all about the nourishment. However, it is proven that the mental state before eating, while eating and after eating has impact and influence on the digestion and the metabolism. Rather to have a materialistic outlook on the food, we should have more of a spiritual attachment to the food that we eat. And Ayurveda says one should eat according to the culture and tradition. Include, fruit juices during the daytime. Drink water. Ideally, drink boiled and cooled water or warm water throughout the day. One can make ginger water or cumin water or coriander water for drinking purpose. And try to avoid uncooked food, fruits and salads after the sunset time. And try to reduce spicy, sour and salty taste in general, especially during the summer time in UAE. And try to reduce the artificial flavors and colors in the food, and like in fast food. And Ayurveda call them, it's like slow poisoning. Please, read about a term named xenobiotics. They are things like, which get accumulated in the body, and the body doesn't know how to digest and metabolize these xenobiotics. And eating food with buttermilk ensures, the ideal pH levels. The ideal pH levels for digestion is between 2 and 4. Intake of green leafy vegetables and cooking them in iron vessels, it was an old practice which ensures, lot of iron supplementations for the body. And importance of fiber containing foods. Back in Kerala, we use the vada tada or vada kumba or moringa or the drumstick vegetables, which can supplement you with lot of fibers. And Vegetarian food like the kanji or the porridge with moong dal, it's an excellent food. Fasting once a month, it is an effective way to clean the digestive system. Keep it in mind that our digestive system is almost 35 feet in length. So once a month, we can go for a fasting. You can either be on a fruit diet or a liquid diet for the day. I know that several people, they go for intermittent fasting nowadays. But Ayurveda says the ideal way of taking an intermittent fasting is eat food between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So that means you are eating for 8 hours a day, and the 16 hours after that you are fasting. So instead of eating food at night time, try to eat during the daytime and take a fasting, intermittent fasting, by eating between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And liquid intake is very important between the diet. It is ideal to drink water between the meals, and drink ideally lukewarm water. And in summertime, buttermilk can be used during the diet. So one can prepare an Ayurvedic preparation named rasala. So take yogurt, add double quantity of water, add a pinch of pepper, add some sugar, blend it, remove the cream, and it can be used as an excellent drink during the summertime. And cold water is ideal for meals containing yogurt or curd. And however, regular intake of curd has to be avoided. So Ayurveda says one may use curd together with amla, together with nellikaya, or together with moong dal, or together with honey or sugar. One may use curd, but still overuse of curd has to be avoided. Warm water can be taken after consuming starchy food or fermented food. Now, you might have heard a lot about incompatible food. I was talking, for the last 45 minutes. I will try to conclude quickly. And incompatible food, I will talk about this another time. There are several examples, like fish is incompatible with black gram, which is moong dal. So fish is incompatible with dosha idli. Fish is incompatible with honey, milk, yogurt, sprouts, radish, and jaggery. Prawns with milk is incompatible. Drinking milk after consumption of green leafy vegetables should be avoided. Chicken shouldn't be taken together with yogurt. Banana with buttermilk, or banana with yogurt, or banana with dates is not recommended. Similarly, there are several viruthas, incompatibilities, like desha virutha, kala virutha, agni virutha, satmya virutha. We will talk about it another time. About sleep, I mentioned previously, sleep may vary, the requirement may vary according to the body type. The Vata might not require that many hours of sleep like a Kapha body type of a person. Sleep with head facing the south or east is recommended. And one sleep might get affected during the lunar phases. Say, like in full moon days, the sleep may be slightly troubled. Stress, anxiety, and depression causes half of all the insomnias and sleep disturbances. Don't drink caffeinated beverages before bedtime. Keep your bedtime and wake time consistent in nature, and keep your bedroom dark and soundproof, and turn off all the lights. And health at the office or workplace is also important. And I would say, one may, neither be over attached nor be over detached with your work. It might help to reduce the stress, hypertension, and it reduces the incidence of psychosomatic diseases. Health at the workplace is very important. And at workplace, don't involve or listen to negative criticisms and gossiping. such activities can result in the development of more negative chemicals in the body, and it can affect one physically too. And ultimately, the key to remain healthy and strong is to live in harmony with the nature. I had a patient, after suggesting, I had a skin patient, after suggesting some medicines, I told him to avoid sour and salty taste, avoid seafood, etc. Then this patient was asking me, why so many restrictions? I told this patient that restrictions are inherent to nature. The thought that we need to breathe to survive, or we need to eat to survive, itself is a limitation. So limitations are inherent to nature. Keep it in mind that we are all like little cells in the bigger universal organisms, and our human body, it's a mirror of our physical surroundings. So the best way to remain healthy, happy, with best immune system is to live in sync and in harmony with the nature. Thank you very much. I took a long time. I will see you with another topic next week. Thank you.